This is University Unplugged, and today I'm joined by the lovely Brother Dom. Thank you so much for coming through today.
My pleasure, man.
Yeah, so today's episode didn't go according to plan.
Not at all.
Matt was supposed to come today and called out last minute. Unfortunately, he's not feeling well, so feel better, brother. But today presented an awesome opportunity to kill two birds with one stone. So I'm doing a documentary for my field production class, and it's called, title's not undecided, but either The Adventures of Shlongboy or The Legend of Shlongboy. Now you may ask, who the fuck is Shlongboy? What is Shlongboy?
Why is Shlongboy?
Why is Shlongboy? And I'm gonna answer that for you. Shlongboy is a stuffed capybara that I bought in Disneyland when I was 18. And it started off as a joke. I did a project on a capybara in a biology class, and I FaceTimed my friend when I was in Animal Kingdom. I see this capybara, and I'm like, dude, I gotta FaceTime my partner and be like, yo man, should I buy this? Kind of as a joke. And he's like, dude, you gotta buy it, man. So I did. And I didn't know the impact that that one decision would have on my life. And today I'm bringing in Brother Dom to kind of guide me through this time to reflect on my time when I lived in Spain. Right after high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I didn't want to take the traditional path of just going to college. So I decided to take a gap year to Spain. And I had this idea, what if I bring this capybara, and what if I just take Shlongboy wherever I go and see what happens? And that decision made a huge impact on my time in my program at Spain and how I grew socially, emotionally, spiritually. It goes deep. And yeah, so real quick, I want to do a little story time. And
Grab your snacks.
yeah, got the popcorn, get ready. So I went to Spain with little knowledge of Spanish. I took Spanish classes in middle school and high school, and yet could not have a conversation.
¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
I did know that. And ¿dónde está el baño? Very important. And it was a very scary time. And I didn't really know at the time until I got in that Uber ride, where this idea of going to Spain, I was like, yeah, this is so cool. I want something different. I want life experience.
You Uber to the airport?
Yeah, but my
Okay.
family Ubered to the airport with me.
Okay.
So my family went with me to kind of take me on a little vacation before I set off for my program. And it was this really cool time. But this idea of living in Spain for initially 4 months, it was like kind of this fantasy that didn't seem real until I hopped in that Uber ride and I just got slapped by this like wave of emotions, like, holy shit, I'm actually doing this.
This is happening.
This is happening.
No takesy backsies. I'm doing this.
No.
It's happening.
It's happening. And I got to Spain, had a great time with my family, and got to meet my host family, stayed with these two lovely people named Angela and Bambo. Bambo is from Senegal, and Angela's from Spain. And it was, they were God-tier chefs, totally hooked me up, and they really helped make this experience a more comfortable one, and really had the patience for me to learn Spanish, and I could barely communicate with them. And it was a very overwhelming and stressful time when my family left, as one could imagine. And then there's Shlongboy. I set Shlongboy up in my room. He's just looking at me, and I'm like, okay, let's do this idea. Let's bring Shlongboy. Let's bring him to class. See what happens. First day class, and right away, I was definitely nervous. I'm like, dude, what are people gonna think about me? Like, this random white boy bringing a stuffed capybara. Like, what the hell's up with that? And I kind of knew going into that, like, that I would have these fears, especially like earlier on, especially my teenage years. I had a lot of social anxiety, and communicating with people wasn't my strong suit.
I can definitely relate to that. I was pretty much in the same boat.
Yeah. And I wanted to change that. I had this desire to really grow and challenge myself. So Shlongboy was such a great maybe way of challenging myself.
Yeah, I mean, having a physical representation of a challenge that you're doing, because, you know, the age-old saying, out of sight, out of mind. If you don't have something, if you can't, like, look at it and be like, oh, that's the thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard, because, like, if I'm not looking there, looking at you, it's not there. It's not on my mind.
Yeah.
You're in my mind. That's not. However, you had Shlongboy. Shlongboy's there, looking at you with his beady little eyes. And you're like, all right, okay, I guess I'll do this.
Yeah.
So I can also definitely see a stuffed capybara that you bring to your first day of class being an amazing icebreaker,
Yes.
because people are going like, what's that?
Yeah.
What's that?
And it's not a well-known animal, which makes it even better. Like, people are like, is that even real? It's great.
I love capybaras because, like, they're considered rodents.
Yeah, they're
They're like this big.
like 150 pounds as well. Like, massive. Massive
the average
creatures.
New York rat.
Yeah, and it was just, it's such a comical animal. And like you said, it was just this amazing icebreaker, because right away, like, people were looking over, people were curious, and first day of class, as goes as expected, everyone's like dead silent, like everyone's in the same boat, nervous to talk, nervous to participate. And shout out to my Spanish professor, who totally changed my perspective on Spanish classes. Her nickname is Chiti, and she brought so much passion to teaching Spanish and really created an environment where we felt safe to participate and learn. And that really helped kind of make me more comfortable bringing Shlongboy around. And like immediately she's like, oye, ¿qué es eso? What is that? Like, and I kind of had that opportunity to introduce Shlongboy, and like immediately, like the class is like laughing, like, that's awesome. This kid's bringing a capybara. I don't even know if that's real, but like, it's cute, it's funny.
One guy's in the back going, that's not real, that's fake, you're making that up.
Yeah, and after class, I just felt this sort of confidence that I don't usually feel to just talk to people. And Shlongboy was such a great conversation starter, such a great icebreaker. And since that first day of class, I kind of realized that, hey, like, this could really be something. And Shlongboy was really something. I brought Shlongboy to Spain, Amsterdam, London, different parts of the US. And this, I started bringing Shlongboy around places before I went to Spain, throughout my high school.
He was like your little buddy.
Yeah, yeah. And I had pictures with my principal, vice principal. So kind of having that warm up really helped. But the thing is, I could speak English. And in high school, I've already known a bunch, like, these people. I've like basically grown up with them. So I was much more comfortable in that environment. But Spain was a completely different one. It was a whole different beast.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, today's episode is just going to be a reflection on my time with Shlongboy, my time in Spain, and I'm doing a documentary on Shlongboy as well, a way to pay homage, and it's going to be quite the story. So, Dom, what do you got for me?
All right, let's kick this off. So,
Yeah.
first things first, right? You said the Uber ride. What were your emotions that you... Actually, you know what? No, we're going to go even further back.
Okay.
What was that moment? Because everyone has that moment where, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. What should I do? What can I do?
Yeah.
And in that moment in high school, what made you think, I'm not gonna go to college. I'm gonna go somewhere not here.
Yeah. So I feel overwhelmed thinking about the future. And this is still something that applies to me today as I'm looking to transfer out of Mercer, where this idea of the future is like
Daunting.
scary, daunting. And seeing everybody else applying to colleges, and like me just very unsure, very just in the dark with what I wanted to do.
That's the perfect way to describe it.
I told I didn't take the SATs, and it showed. It really showed that, like, with my parents as well, like they knew that like I wasn't excited about college. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I guess I'll go to Mercer. It's kind of the only option I have. Like, that's the idea I had in my mind. And then my parents offered, what about a gap year? What if you traveled for a year and see what happens? And that immediately connected with me more. I'm like, yes, I want to broaden my perspective. I want to get out of this bubble that's called Robbinsville and see more of the world.
It is pretty much a bubble.
Yeah. And I knew putting myself in a situation like that would force me to grow no matter what. I'm not going to Spain alone and coming back the same person. There's no way.
There's no shot.
There is no way. And with college, I just didn't feel like I would get that growth yet. And it just wasn't the time for me.
Yeah, that's probably one of my biggest regrets is going to college like immediately.
Yeah.
Because I graduated in 2020, the plague year. So everyone was masked up, everyone's in their house, locked up. I took my first semester at University of Delaware in my room on Zoom the whole time, and it was a miserable experience. I learned nothing, I gained nothing. The only thing I gained was, man, how much mental abuse can I take?
Yeah.
And I had to drop. Spent 2 years there, and I didn't learn anything from it. I think that's my biggest regret, that I didn't take like a year to go, back up, take a deep breath. What's the plan? What's the situation? Instead of just bashing my head against the wall over and over again because I was too proud at the moment to think, this isn't working out for me.
Yeah.
I could do this.
Yeah.
And I really couldn't. So that was my biggest regret. And I think that's a great thing that your parents were supportive of you.
Oh my gosh.
Because I know a lot of people that don't have that opportunity. But another thing, you got to make your opportunity.
True that.
So sometimes it's easier for others, sometimes it's not. But hey, at the end of the day, it's your life. So, all right. So, was that like in your junior year or senior year of high school?
So, through my senior year, I still, whenever my parents really, like, kept reminding me, almost like on a daily basis. Hey, you're a junior. You got to start thinking about the future.
Yep.
Senior, hey, you're a senior. You still got to be thinking about the future. And they were very they held me accountable.
Yeah.
But they didn't push me. And I'm so grateful for that, because I also know people that were pushed, didn't have another option. And it's so culturally reinforced that, like, this is the path.
Yeah.
And you rarely get even the idea to consider other options. But my parents, they really helped guide me and find other options. And I'm so grateful for that, because I know my life would be so different if I didn't take that gap year.
Yeah. If you didn't take that gap year, I don't think we would have met.
No, we wouldn't
have. Continuing on with that. So Uber ride, right?
Yeah.
You make it to the airport. I don't like planes. Planes are a little submarine with wings that it's cramped, it's full of people. If there's a baby there, that entire time is awful.
Always have to have the baby.
And of course the baby cries because it's a baby, and you're in a tiny little submarine, so it echoes off the walls, and it's just not a good time. So how was your plane ride?
It was a long plane ride, about like, I think 11 hours to Spain?
You left
Eight
from
or
Newark?
Newark. Yeah. Something like that.
That's a good trek across the
Yeah, I
Atlantic.
think I had to, I'm pretty sure it was direct, or I had to stop by Portugal. Not entirely sure on the details, but I think it was just
I mean,
such a blur for me because I was like really playing with like this idea that, oh my gosh, like this is happening. And I was just kind of like really pushed into the moment. And
yeah, you're on a plane.
yeah, and I had my family with me, which is a
Wait.
huge help.
Your family went with you on the plane?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I know. It was the fact that we got to go on vacation, like travel around Spain. We went to like, we went to Madrid, we went to Sevilla, Alicante, but all beautiful places.
Yeah.
And having that support for my family for the first week when I was in Spain made a huge difference compared to if I traveled alone.
I think if you traveled alone, you wouldn't have a lot of direction. You wouldn't have a lot of like safe spaces to go back to. It would just be like, hey, that's a tunnel that's completely pitch black.
I don't know if I should go in there. Yeah, and by having that support, it definitely built my confidence for when I did have to fly back to Spain alone.
Yeah.
And it really, that first week, it was just an amazing time with my family. But like in the back of my mind, I knew that like I would be jumping into this like whole new dimension almost. And that it was scary. And having that in the back of my mind, it's like it definitely makes an impact on the plane ride, on like spending time with my family, because it's always just in the back of my head. But it was this mix of anxiety, but also excitement for what the opportunities to come, who I would meet, and like how my life would change. And I mean, I had this faith that everything would work out, that the universe was guiding me, and with that, it absolutely made the experience so much more manageable, having that overarching faith that things are going to work out for me. Things are happening for a reason and for me, not to me.
Did you associate that feeling with Shlongboy? Like, whenever you looked at Shlongboy, you're like, I got this.
You know, Shlongboy was such a, like...
Anchor?
Maybe, but more like this reminder not to take everything so seriously.
Okay.
And just seeing this goofy little capybara looking at me, it just like,
like
only Shlongboy could look at someone
son of
that
Shlongboy.
way. Son of Shlongboy.
Son of Shlongboy, right?
Yeah.
Like imagine.
We have to name Son of Shlongboy today.
Son of Shlongboy. Like this guy right here, this little goober, this capybara, right?
Capybara.
Yeah. So this is a capybara. This is like different Shlongboy. Imagine this guy over here, right? Carrying this around on like a backpack in Spain and in class. Like this guy is such a little icebreaker. He's such a little guy. And you know what? If someone was wearing this around and they look like they're not from here, I want to talk to them about the capybara.
Absolutely.
Like that's something that's just happening. So you can stay right there. Yeah.
And it even made an impact on like pretty much anywhere I went, people would look, and some people would laugh to themselves, some people would smile, some people would like do one of those nose laughs. It's all these different reactions. And what was really cool is I attracted people that weren't afraid to say something. People that like I would want to spend my time with because they've gotten past this like social anxiety and they're not afraid to say something. And that's the kind of people that I want to spend my time around.
Oh, absolutely.
So it was such a natural attractor, this icebreaker. And like Shlongboy was really a representation of like so many things in my journey, and it's just like this little capybara. Like, who
All right,
knew that could have such an
I
impact?
can't stand it anymore. I'm taking a wrecking ball to this train of thought. I have to address the elephant in the room. Why is the capybara named Shlongboy?
That's a great question, and I actually didn't name Shlongboy.
You didn't?
No, I didn't. So when I bought this capybara, I was with a group of people, and I asked them, well, what should I name this capybara? And one of the girls in the group, her name is Maddie Lehman, shout out to you, be awesome if you're watching this. She just said Shlongboy. And almost immediately, I'm like, that's it. That's
that.
absolutely it. It's just, and with Shlongboy's got this like almost innocent but also guilty look. It's like Shlongboy can be so expressive and also like not at the same time, and it just fits so well. And it's also, for reference, spelled Shlongboy, not the way Shlong is actually spelled. You know, separate the Shlongs, of course. But it was just so comical. And I
It's
was
something,
just,
all right?
yeah, it always gets a reaction. Like, people are like, Shlongboy?
Yeah.
Dude, Shlongboy? And I'm like, yeah, Shlongboy. And when I like pull out the capybara, they're like,
Whip out the Shlongboy?
when I whip him out, people realize, oh shit, that's Shlongboy. And you can't help but to giggle, laugh, snicker.
Yeah.
Just the ridiculousness of it.
If you whipped out a capybara in front of me, I wouldn't know what to do but giggle.
Yeah, and what an icon Shlongboy was in the university, and even in like high school. Like my parent, like I would send pictures of Shlongboy to like my family group chat, and like my mom and my dad would like share the pictures throughout my family. It was like well known. Shlongboy is well known throughout my family, and like my community at home, and then my community that I built in Spain. It was like he really became this icon, and it was just this almost magical kind of experience, just having him around and seeing like other people like respond, and even myself, like just carrying this capybara around everywhere. Of course, when the inevitable storms came, like I can just,
You had a rock.
yeah, and just carrying it around, I'm like, dude, everything's gonna be okay. Like,
Yeah, man. A pocket full of sunshine.
yeah, absolutely.
Love that song.
And funny little side note, I lived with a dog named Slinky, and I'll
like
pull up.
from the Toy Story, dude?
Yeah, that's kind of the inspiration behind the name
Was he a
Slinky.
wiener dog?
Pretty much a wiener dog. And this dog was an absolute riot, chaotic, bro. It's like medium sized.
That's a hot dog.
It's a hot dog, man. Goofy dog, man. Shlongboy, that was like the only predator of Shlongboy. Almost every chance that dog got.
It is a fun fact that capybaras have like next to no natural predators. They're just there.
Yeah, they get along with like they just get along.
I think I've seen them like just sit next to saltwater crocodiles, and
Yes.
the crocodiles are like,
Alright.
whatever. That's there.
They're
Like,
just
I'm gonna
chill like
continue
that.
sitting over there. They can sit over there. Just don't come closer.
And,
Like, you're
like-
good over there.
Even people have them as pets.
It's a coconut dog.
Yeah, essentially, dude. Like, if I ever have some sort of opportunity where I'm living on this like big property in Florida, and I can just buy a capybara, and I've got nothing else to do in life, I might do it, bro.
All right. Plan A, college. Plan B, win the lottery, get a capybara.
I'm all set after that.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
All right. So continuing. So Spain. You studied what in Spain?
Spanish.
Spanish.
Strictly Spanish.
So you went to study abroad strictly to study Spanish.
I knew that learning a second language would carry out throughout the rest of my
Oh
life.
yeah, it's integral.
And I knew that like
You slap
Compared
that,
to-
you slap that on every resume you got.
exactly, bro. And that was a gateway language for me to learn any other Latin based language. So I can even speak a bit of Portuguese just because I learned Spanish. And it was I knew that I could like really learn about life from a perspective of another culture.
Oh yeah.
If I can learn the language, if I can break that language barrier, like the room for growth is just exponentially increased. And for me, that was such a motivator. And connecting with different people and seeing the similarities and the differences, but really how similar we are, even though we live in different parts of the world, even though like we speak a different language, like we're human beings, we feel the same things, like we go through the same things, and learning that really made an impact on how I interact with people today and how I look at the world. And I don't think I could have done that the same way if I didn't learn Spanish.
I see. So, what was what would you say is like the most surprising thing about Spain and Spain's culture that like shocked you, or better yet, what was something that was so similar that are like, oh, you guys do that too? I thought that was only
Nude
a
beaches.
we thing. Yeah, that'll definitely do it.
Yeah, dude, I was warned.
Is it just men?
It's both.
Okay.
It's both. You know, I was simultaneously ready but not ready, because I was warned. Like I'm like,
There's naked people.
yeah, it's just out there.
Yeah, I think
And that was definitely a culture shock.
yeah, something that I personally am like always shocked by is other cultures like complete acceptance of nudity. Like I have a Korean friend, and they often go to a Korean spa and they bathe together. Like they straight up go into like a spot, they strip nude and they bathe, separated by gender, of course. But like that's weird to me because that's something that I don't experience. Even my culture, which is German, we don't do that.
Yeah.
However, for like, I guess Spain with nude beaches and with a lot of Asian cultures with bathing like together, it's accepted there. It's like not weird. It's just a part of their life. So, yeah, nude beaches, that'll definitely do it.
Yeah, that was the initial, but also how definitely when people hung out, and Spain's nightlife is so different. I feel like people will go out to like restaurants will stay open till like 2 a.m. and friends will gather, like, yo, you know what? Give me el gato gruñón. I gotta like.
I'm sorry, what?
El gato gruñón. That's essentially grumpy cat in Spanish.
You can take
Thank
the pissed
you.
off cat, I guess.
I'll take the stuffed cat. And
You can stay right there, you little scamp.
people would really take the time to spend time with friends and family, like on another level where like where it's things aren't as planned. It's more of a go with the flow kind of feeling and vibe you get when you're spending time with friends in Spain, rather than like here when things are kind of more coordinated and planned and schedule based. And in Spain, that the interactions are different in that sense because it doesn't feel as rushed, and it's more like you're kind of in the moment, and I really appreciated that. It's good balance.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't say the same about myself, but you know, Grumpy Cat's a little got some battle wounds. The same dog, Slinky, also chomped up Grumpy Cat. Only it's naturally.
Man,
naturally.
that dog just like hates competition.
Total menace. Oh my god.
It's just like he's just like that's another thing. It's smaller than me. I don't like it. I'm gonna remove it from the equation.
Yeah. Oh man.
All right.
Like you can see a bite mark right
So-
here and here.
So, you get that guy in Spain? Ooh. Yeah. Ah,
No.
No!
No!
All right,
It's all good. It's all good.
Technical difficulties. I have to go save a precious animal.
Dom on the rescue. Oh, we're good. We're good. Smiling and everything.
Yeah, man. Like nothing happened.
I bought Grumpy Cat. Actually, no. Grumpy Cat, I think I got Grumpy Cat from Kalahari. This is the water park. Forget where, somewhere in the States. And I'm not sure if it was Grumpy Cat that I accidentally stole from a gift shop. And you might ask, how does one accidentally steal?
Crime is bad.
Yes.
Don't
I
do
don't.
it. But if it's funny, I can't legally finish that sentence. Continue.
Yeah, so there was a couple instances where I accidentally stole something. And I don't know how, but essentially, like,
Did you black out and like have a bag
dude,
full
I
of stuff?
swear, it sounds like, how the fuck is that even possible? But I found a way. I found a way where I just forget that I'm carrying something that I got from the gift shop, and like maybe I'm like looking at Grumpy Cat.
It called to you. A new hand touches
And
the
I'm,
beacon.
my family was like, come on, let's go. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I just leave. And then I realized, oh shit, I got Grumpy Cat. And I just kind of went with it. Like, I don't know, felt too embarrassed.
Psych,
Like,
I'm leaving the state. Y'all ain't catching me.
dude, it might have been Grumpy Cat.
Okay.
But yeah, that's from the States.
All right. So continuing. I saw before the set, before this all got together, you were kind enough to show me an album filled to the brim with pictures upon pictures upon pictures of the man, the myth, the legend, Shlongboy, with different people, different places. Some of them are just random people you said you met like 5 minutes ago. And
Yeah.
like there was this one with like this middle-aged white woman on a plane.
Yeah.
And you were like, do you know this person? And nah. And there they were.
Yeah.
Holding Shlongboy.
Yeah.
So also, Shlongboy gets so much play. The amount of women that were kissing that thing was insane. And men, honestly. That guy
Yeah.
was like a magnet.
Absolutely. I like, you know, I really had a sit-down conversation with myself, being like, Shlongboy has really kissed more people than I have. But hey, it's cool. I understand. That's Shlongboy.
He's the guy.
He's that guy. Shlongboy in the club was a different animal. Different animal.
Can't hold liquor for shit.
Nope. Not at all.
He got like a shot in and wasn't acting himself.
Shlongboy can get a little crazy.
He can. Okay. So you said you went to a lot of different places. So we covered Spain. We're not going to touch Spain anymore. That's in the closet,
Okay.
like crumpling up the paper, throwing it behind us. Like that's done. It's still a fun chapter to revisit, but for the purpose of this episode, we have a bit more to cover. So where did you go next?
So next, I went to Amsterdam with my mom. And
Amsterdam with your mom. So did your mom come back?
so my mom had a work trip, and
A work
she had
trip.
to travel to Amsterdam. And she figured it would be a really cool opportunity to fly me out, show me a different country, and spend a couple days with my mom. And it was so nice to have that familiarness and that like support from someone only a family member or a mom could give you.
Oh, that sounds so
And
nice.
it was such a nice moment because my mom and I never really had an opportunity to travel together and experience something so different. My mom's already been to Amsterdam before, but me no. And it really felt like this fantasy land. And bringing Shlongboy around, like the same thing, like people will like react and respond to Shlongboy. And I'd bring Shlongboy to restaurants, clubs, hotels, and still have those interactions. But it also kind of,
I heard some stories. He's like a complete diva. He needs like his stuff like completely set up. Like he says like, yeah, if the sheets aren't like iron pressed when I get there, I'm throwing a fit. But you know, he does tip well.
yes.
So give and take.
Yes. And it was this really emotional time, actually. Like, having gone through so much, like, and one huge thing for me, and I know we're gonna have to uncrumple that paper from Spain.
Fine. I
Yeah,
guess
it's
I'll
low.
go
It's low.
grab
We can maybe put it to the side.
Okay.
But
all right, yeah, put a pin in it.
for me, being able to communicate is one of the most important things for me, to process my emotions, what's going on mentally. And in Spain, I didn't really have that support because I couldn't communicate.
I mean, you could talk.
I could
No one would
talk.
understand you. But you
Yeah.
could talk.
Yeah, and not having that kind of ability to communicate and that support where like I had someone I really trusted and like could let them know, hey, like things are hard and it can be a struggle and I just need someone to like talk to and support me through it. And my host mom, Angela, was so nice just by her presence, and like I like had these super like emotional, profound experiences through Google Translate, which is amazing.
Yeah, that app helps me out a lot at work.
Yeah.
Because I deal with a lot of people that aren't from this country.
Mm.
So, and they often don't speak a lot of English. I think yesterday I had to tell a guy that something important, and he only spoke Ukrainian,
Mm.
and that was rough. But Google Translate has helped a lot of people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could definitely see how that like can definitely help out a little.
Yeah. And by having my mom back and someone who I can like, who I deeply trust and can communicate with freely, like it was a really emotional time because of that, because it was this big emotional release from like the months that I was living in Spain and didn't really have that support. So, and Shlongboy was there for that,
Well, of course,
you know, just there for that experience.
it's like an automatic and like including. It's like, oh, Ian's coming. Does that mean Shlongboy's coming?
Yeah. And like
Skyboy.
the days that I did forget Shlongboy, I would always get asked, "Dónde está Shlongboy? Where's Shlongboy? Like, where you at?" And
Shlongboy.
like people would get like bummed out if I forgot Shlongboy. But like,
I mean, I'd be pretty bummed.
yeah. And you know, kind of point is like Shlongboy has been there through a huge like range of different emotions and experiences, highs and lows. And it's so silly,
I'm
this
just
little
imagining.
capybara, just like,
I'm just imagining like going to your place and pushing you aside just to touch the goddamn capybara. It's like, hey, Ian, move! How you doing, Shlongboy?
yeah. And like friends would kind of joke around that like they'd use me for Shlongboy, like, yeah, nah, I just wanted to see it for Shlongboy, and that wasn't the case. But like, you know, it's it kind of showed like, wow, Shlongboy really had such an impact.
Yeah. All right. So after Amsterdam, what happened?
Went back to Spain, and
Oh, you double tapped Spain. Okay.
I double tapped Spain. I was only there in Amsterdam for a couple days,
Okay.
but after that, I went to London for
On
my
purpose?
birthday, for my 19th birthday, and my mom was there.
On purpose.
Yeah, my mom was working in London, and she's like, "Hey, like I'm gonna be here around your birthday. Like, do you want to come? Do you want to come through and celebrate your birthday here?" And I'm like, "Yes, yes, absolutely."
You see Buckingham Palace?
No, I didn't.
How about Ben?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Of course, I saw Ben.
You saw the clock, all right.
I saw the
all
clock,
right,
I saw
all
the
right.
clock.
Yeah, I guess the London trip was worth it a little.
And yeah, it was just another amazing.
Beans on toast.
It was a similar kind of experience to Amsterdam because of that time away from like that support system I have, and then coming back where I'm like, and I'm also just like continuing to find myself through this experience, and I get to kind of check back in with my mom and just like really let the emotions that I've been kind of like pushing to the side or bottling in,
Yeah.
and let them out. And it was like, it started off as this like really like emotionally turbulent, charged like birthday where I'm like, I'm 19 and like life is moving forward, and like I still like, despite all this growth it's been an amazing process. It's still like this idea of the future and what's to come. Like, oh my gosh, I'm almost 20. Like, what even is life? It's like, whoa.
All right, I'm 20. My life's basically over.
Yeah, and sometimes it can feel like that.
Yeah.
But with the help of my mom and Shlongboy, it ended up being such an amazing birthday where she took
I'm
me to the
happy.
Sky Garden, saw this amazing like live performance from this band, and like just this beautiful view and just these like beautiful profound moments, like where I kind of like have that perspective switch. Hey man, it's really not that serious. Like, it's about, life is really about fully experiencing the human experience and everything that comes with it. And that kind of perspective makes the hard times feel more manageable.
Oh yeah.
And you can even be grateful for them, because without the hard times, the good times don't really exist, you know? It's, if it's only like cream and peaches and like
Sunshine and rainbows.
sunshine and rainbows.
What's the point?
Yeah, like it's, you don't really appreciate the good times the same way, where if you do go through turbulent times in your life.
There is a saying that I have found that is really, really, really important to me. And it is, you have already lived through the worst day of your life.
Mm.
So even if you do find a worse day later on, for now,
Yeah.
in your life, you've already gotten past the worst bit.
Yeah.
So you always have that in your back pocket. Like, I've gone through really bad things and I'm still standing,
Yeah.
still kicking. All right, I have a question about London because, and Spain and Amsterdam. So I've heard that their public transportation system is actually like usable.
Yes.
Can you actually get around places pretty easily?
Yes.
That's my biggest pet peeve with the United States cities, is that our public transport doesn't exist. So you fundamentally need a car to get anywhere, and that sucks.
Yeah.
So having experience with that must have been joy, and then coming back to the United States, it's like flowers for Algernon yourself. But yeah, I just had to get that off. What was like your favorite part of going to London? Because I came off a bit hostile, all right? I'm sorry, I am a bit patriotic when it comes to London. I hate America anyway, other than that, but just with London.
Okay.
But I do really enjoy learning about other cultures, and I would love to do what you do, but unfortunately, I was cursed with a phobia of traveling, and I'm working through it. But going on to even approaching an airport puts me into sweats.
Mm.
So you doing that puts a little bit of like a spark going, like, all right, Dom, you need to conquer this. You need to get your stuff in gear. You need to take deep breaths. Because I do also want to experience so much things. I want to go to Germany so bad. I want to go to Japan really bad. Spain, Italy, I guess London. But seeing other cultures and seeing how they operate and seeing how it works, even though that the United States is basically just a melting pot of hundreds of cultures, there's still that underlying like foundation of American culture. I can't place it, but it's there, because I've heard from everyone that I've talked to at my job that doesn't come from here, you can pick an American out in a crowd.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So there has to be something about us. But I would really enjoy that, and I think that gap year, because I have also heard tons of stories of people saying, oh yeah, it's like a gap year, and then that gap year turned into 2, and then 4, and then 8, and now I'm 40.
It absolutely ignited my passion to travel, 100%. And getting past that barrier is is such an important part of your growth and development. And I feel like that fear, it's there for a reason. And by really accepting it and approaching it, it will absolutely like make an impact on your life. And I only think for the better. Like, facing your like I've had to face so many fears in Spain, not knowing Spanish and having to talk Spanish with people, like and
Yeah,
like
that
it was really an opportunity to like face fears. And what I learned from that is that like by facing your fears, you realize that fear isn't going to kill me. And if you look at the stats on the amount of airplane crashes,
it's not even the
yeah,
the airplane itself isn't the thing I'm scared of. I don't like airplanes because, as I said before, it's a tiny little submarine with wings. It's cramped. It's loud. It's sweaty. It's blah 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 blah. I'm not afraid of the airplane because you're actively more. You have a higher chance to die in a car than a plane
Yeah.
by like a huge amount,
yeah,
an astronomically large amount. So it's not the actual like plane crashing that's an issue for me, um, but it's the overall, for some reason, some part of my brain. Same thing with my mom, which is why
mm,
we haven't gone to a lot of vacations. Is because both of us have a phobia of traveling.
okay,
I think it's hereditary, honestly. Um, but the act of sleeping somewhere that is not my home terrifies me
mm,
to no end. And I've been trying so hard to conquer it. And I think that when I do, I could follow in your footsteps and travel and see other places. And I think everyone should do that because living in a bubble won't be very fulfilling because on the worst, you'll experience everything and be bored. And the best, you'll have like a little echo chamber, I guess, where like you spout about your culture to people that know your culture. Um, but yeah, I think traveling, getting out of your home, I think not traveling at all worked for like one guy. And to like actually make something of himself, and that was a guy named Kant. He literally never left his hometown, and yet he's one of the most famous philosophers. So don't bank on the lottery. Travel, experience. Even if it's in the States, leave your state. Go
Yeah.
somewhere else because every state has their own little culture. Like I have been to New York and Pennsylvania, and I used to go to University of Delaware, and Delaware has its own culture, and they're different than in Jersey. Um, so yeah, I think everyone should travel, and I think you advocating for that, especially for like that coming of age bit where you're like you're done with high school, you're an adult, you have the entire world in front of you, but for right now, that world is like a giant dark tunnel. You don't know what's in it. You don't know what'll happen in it. You just need some help.
yeah,
Maybe someone to carry a torch with you or a flashlight. But even if you can't, just go buy one at the Home Depot. Grab a flashlight.
of course.
It's not that hard.
And even within your state, just experiencing something new, going to a new restaurant, talking to someone new, just looking for a new experience and coming in with a mindset of like, what can I learn? Just an open mind will absolutely do numbers on your inner world. And like being so set in one mindset limits you. And one thing I absolutely learned, and traveling's kind of a more extreme way of doing it,
Yeah.
but and it's unfortunately not as accessible to people. But one
no,
thing
it's not. Not
it's
now.
so beneficial
It is.
to opening your eyes, and it really like, and I do want everybody to be able to experience it, and it's it's you're absolutely not alone in the fear of traveling.
Yeah,
Like,
I know. I'm not.
I met somebody on a plane ride being like, yeah, like
We're gonna crash.
he was terrified of planes, absolutely like despises it. But
Yeah, I can see it.
once he got past that like initial fear, like and learned that traveling is a beautiful experience, like he was able to like put up with it, and despite feeling the fear, you just do it anyways. And
Yeah.
that's, I love that phrase. feel the fear and do it anyways?
Uh,
Depends.
right back at you with the saying, bravery isn't the absence of fear. It is doing something while being afraid.
Yes.
And you said that fear isn't going to kill you. You're right.
Yeah.
Fear's existence is to keep you alive.
Yep.
So although it is daunting, I have panic disorder, so I definitely know what people are going through when it's like, oh, I feel super anxious, like I can't do anything. Like sometimes when things don't go my way, or like even if it's just a random Tuesday and my brain is like, you're gonna suffer, you feel like your lungs are being clutched by cold hands and your vision starts to tighten and you just spiral and you can't stop. But like most bad things in life, and like I said before, you've already lived through your worst moment and it'll pass. So I think doing things that is outside your comfort zone, even if it makes you uncomfortable, that uncomfortableness will pass when it's over and you'll gain something from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And every experience can be used to contribute to our growth, and especially the difficult and turbulent times. Those are going to impact us and offer an opportunity to learn much more than the good ones. And I definitely learned that in times where I had to deal with anxiety and panic on a much more extreme level than I've had to before. And by getting past that point, that like one of the worst and most painful times of my life, like having a panic attack for the first time, like
It sucks.
oh my gosh, it was,
You feel like
it rocked my world. But I learned, like, because of that experience, I've really focused on my mental health and my growth, and like really, it also helped me be a more compassionate person, and like realizing what like other people have to go through. And it's like really kind of accelerated my growth. And some people really have
Slap
to
some bone meal right on that sapling.
Yeah, and those bad experiences are there for a reason, and I think it's to help us. It's to help us like make the decisions for ourselves, to treat ourselves better and to give ourselves better.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
To bring this whole thing back towards the University Unplugged, university. All of this is to basically say that all of the experiences that you got from your gap year and all the experiences that I want to gain will only help with your journey and everything in university, right? Like a couple episodes ago when you were interviewing Lyric and their struggles with being a person of color in college, and little sneak peek into the future, there's going to be another person that's going to explain their hardships in college. It's just, everyone experiences a lot of hardships in this absolute coliseum that is college. You will suffer through ups and downs, but I will say every single high school teacher that has ever said, oh, that's not going to fly in college, they lied. They're a liar. And yeah, I've had teachers straight up email me like, yeah, I'm hungover, I'm not going to class, sorry.
Whoa.
Or, yeah, I don't really feel like teaching today, so like you can do whatever you want today, this is a study hall. Or turning things late, like as long as you get it done. I think most professors, there are some that are going to be sticks in the mud. I've had those. I think everyone had those. But as long as you get them done, I think everything will be good for you. Additionally, you're never alone in your problems. The biggest thing that I think to take away from Yin's experiences was he said that everyone was different, but also extremely similar.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes problems. Everyone is going through something. Like, I used to work with a guy. His name was Abdelaziz. He's from Egypt. And he has such an awful life, but he comes into work every day with a massive smile. And he's been teaching me all about his culture and everything. So I'm trying to learn as much as I can in my little bubble right now. But the things he's teaching me, I apply a lot. Like, he is Muslim as well, so I'm learning a lot about that. And I'm also learning a very, very small amount of Arabic. But it's just so amazing how everything is connected, but with different flowering branches. Like same roots, but like different colored flowers and different colored everything, but it's fundamentally the same plant. So the biggest thing that I want to ask Ian at the end of this, right? Because I think we're about approaching the deadline. What is the most important thing you've learned from your experience traveling that you can give to others? What is that piece of advice that you think, yeah, that's good, I should quote that? Or you don't even have to quote it. It could be like anything you want, but just, the floor is yours, buddy.
Yeah. An open mind will change your life, and a growth mindset. Those two things.
So be open to advice. Be open
to other people's points of views, and by taking that and applying it and comparing it to your previous point of view, you can learn something new and adapt it into your own life. And Shlongboy, to connect it back to him,
that little rascal,
that little rascal helped me to take things not so seriously and to have that overarching faith that everything's going to be okay. And I want to take a moment to kind of explain where Shlongboy is now and to wrap up this episode.
Yeah.
So when I was in Mallorca, it's this little island in Spain, I took Shlongboy on this amazing mountain called Valle de Mosa. And I was with a couple friends, and we approached this well. And my friends and I thought, yeah, let's do this funny bit where we replicate or recreate an Indiana Jones scene where we replace like a hidden gem with like a rock, or in this case, Shlongboy. So we thought to do it on this well. And I didn't know it was a well at the time. So I have this on video.
No. Don't tell me.
Shlongboy right now is in the bottom of a well in Mallorca. And it was, you will see my reaction on the video, but it was.
I'm so distraught. You're telling me he's in the bottom of a well?
He's in the bottom of a well. And I'm going to show everyone the video, but it was such a
I didn't know this episode was going to be a Shakespearean tragedy, dude.
Dude, and I wanted to find a way to connect it. And the transition period after when Shlongboy left. And the amazing part is, you could maybe not anymore, but if at the time when I dropped Shlongboy, if you look down that well, you could see him looking up at you. And
he knew.
That moment, it was.
Was that like the last couple of days in Spain too?
Nah, it was I still had actually, it was I had a few weeks left.
Oh, okay.
I had a few weeks left.
Less poetic, but still pretty.
Yeah, and it was this profound moment of whoa, this stuffed animal was with me through thick and thin, and now it's gone. And the way I reacted surprised me. And
where is this island?
In Spain.
Yeah, but where?
Oh, it's in the south east side of Spain.
How long ago did you go to Spain?
2020. This was in 2023. And I will say, like, I do want to go back to Spain and go on a rescue mission, get gear,
Oh,
get
yeah,
down
we're
that
doing
well,
that.
and find
Oh, yeah,
Shlongboy.
we're
It's
doing
gonna be
that.
this amazing story.
Oh, absolutely. We're doing that. I'm conquering my
Dude.
fear for this fucker.
If you want to come, bro, we need help.
I'm gonna be down that well. You got me
We're gonna
attached
be-
to this thing.
And I can't wait to show everyone the
I
documentary.
did not. He was showing me all these pictures before the set. He's like, "Oh my god, I love this guy." I'm like, "It's a weird he didn't bring him." And he's like, "Yeah," and he just glows over it. And it's like, "Yeah, yeah." And we're gonna wrap this up by saying,
To
He's
be
gone?
continued.
to be continued.
To be continued.
All right. Thank you for tuning in to University Unplugged. Thank you for having me. I don't know when I'll be back. I'm just an entity that just shows up sometimes.
Brother Dom.
But I'll normally be in the back working audio. But I'll appear sometimes.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you.
To be continued.